All right, ladies, we're recording on my screen, which I think is also recording my audio. Give me 1 minute while I start recording on our bridge line. Hold on 1 second. All right, we're recording for our iCAP call on the 18th of June, and thank you everybody for the 14 to 20 minutes worth of technical difficulties. I don't know what went wrong with my system, so hopefully you will have gotten the PDF for tonight's call. What we're going to do tonight is we've had we've been together. I think this is now, if we include our bonus call that we did the first week we all met together, this is week number 7, not just week 6, it's module 6 as far as content, but we've gone over a bunch of stuff. So what we're going to do tonight, I think that module 6 is actually a 10-page PDF. It's got a lot of blanks on there and some recap. What I want to do is make sure that we fill in anything that we've missed in the time that we've spent together, and I'm going to make an announcement right now. This is not our last call. We actually have 2 extra bonuses that we're going to be giving everybody, and I'll just mention that now. At the end of our call tonight, actually, we'll send you an email either today or tomorrow or something like that. We're going to meet with each of you personally as like a one-on-one to make sure that we follow up with any gaps that there might be. Robin and I talked about how is best to actually close out this virtual boot camp, and because there's just a few of us, this seems like this is going to be the best fit. So we'll split you up, and I'll talk to half of you, and Robin will talk to the other half. But we're also going to discuss if there's anything that's what's the most appropriate next step as well. If there's something else that we have that is going to be a good fit for you. So tonight's not our last session, and then there's another thing. Robin's been working on the trainings coming in from our multi-millionaire trainers that we're going to teach 3 different segments. And so she's got several of those recordings. Those have not been put up yet. You're going to get those as well. So that's kind of a cool piece. She's just got to get me that link so that we can send it to you. So there's a couple of extra bonuses that you're going to get. So tonight's not the last time we'll speak. So before we kind of get into content, let me make sure that you guys can hear me okay and there aren't any other technical challenges with things. Can you see my screen and can you hear me okay? Yes, yes, and yes. Okay, awesome. So I'm glad we're able to make this work. So then, before we move on, I want to hear any burning, let's be brief. I want to make sure that we stay on time tonight. We've got a lot to cover. So let's get real quickly any celebrations anybody has on progress they made. I know that some of you are going to be following up on your interviews and whatnot. So who is burning to share? Great. How long was it, Terry? Oh, I'm sorry, Stacy. Cool. 20 minutes. Awesome. And you were able to figure out the technology on the free conferencing and all that? Yeah, I've only used that feature once, and I never did it to test. I'm sure it works. I just I didn't, end up using it. Like you said, I've used it for the bridge line, not to do the screen share so much. So okay, awesome. And It is. Join Me is a free service, so you can do a free screen share. I think it maxes out at like 5 to 10 people, something like that. I might be wrong about that. One of the challenges, though, is it doesn't record your screen. So I'm having to run 3 different softwares right now. One is Join.me, which is cool because you can sign up for free and you can share your screen at any time. Very cool service. Then I'm using QuickTime Player to record my whole computer screen. I could have chosen just a section, but I'm just recording the whole thing. And the challenge with that is it's a very large file. If you look at the screen, can you guys see that there's a gray box that says screen recording on it? Okay, you can see this is a 2.19 gigabyte file right now. So it's huge. So I'm going to have to figure out how to convert this, and to upload it, it's just going to be a big pain. But I am getting it captured, so we're going to have it. It may be that for, I think the only person who's missing this call is Sandy, that it's just going to be much easier to post the audio, because the audio is just instantaneous. And on the audio side, I'm using freeconferencing.com right now. Did that answer your question? You're welcome. So pretty cool stuff. High quality capture, but just very expensive or very large file. Okay, so then who else would like to share? Congratulations, Athena and Stacy, for getting that one done. Anybody else have a celebration? Did anybody else do the... Terry, go ahead, sorry. Mm-hmm. Well, I've been celebrating you on Facebook. I love all of you're having. Just feels like you're having so much fun with your languaging around the fashion doctor. I think to me, it's fresh and it stands out. And I believe it's doing that initial client attraction piece. So what I'm reading so far is it's attracting my attention. It's making me curious. It's getting me to want to know more, which is, I think, all you can ask for when you're meeting someone. Mm. 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 Mm-hmm. Yep. Right. Well, I mentioned it's a different form of wrapping your package. When we talked about the branding box, I mentioned how I get a lot more comments when I wear bright pink and when I wear bright blue. And it's just, I have a well-fitted suit and I get comments. And I wear that suit when I'm in networking situations, and every single time, that suit, but my suits are tailored. And every single time that I look good and I look sharp, like people comment and I get attention and things. And the jacket is a really fun way for you to not, because if you're too stylish also, in being a fashion doctor, I mean, I could almost imagine being intimidated by like your style or whatnot, potentially. Or you're also potentially judged. At any rate, it's just a very cool way of wrapping your package and standing out. I think it's great, and I'm glad you're embracing the fun of it, because I never even thought clinical at all. So everybody's going to have their own feedback and opinions. I think didn't you get feedback? Someone told you that they didn't like it, that it wasn't what they would recommend? Right. Well, a lot of the language, Terry, that you're coming up with and everybody is coming up with on what it is you're going to tell the world, because Ideal Client Attraction Program is about your leads. It is about marketing, and that is all about communication. So as soon as you decide that you are going to pick a side and pick a language, and as soon as you choose, you're going to have some people that embrace it. You're also going to have automatically, just because it's human nature, you're going to have some people that disagree. So when you pick a side, and that's the challenge for many people, to niche to who they're really looking for and whatnot, you're always going to piss somebody off. That's not maybe the best language, but there's going to be somebody who doesn't like what you do or say. And, even Jesus didn't get it, didn't make everybody happy. So, whether you think he was the Savior or not really doesn't matter, but I mean, he tried really hard to help a lot of people, and some people thought he wasn't such a great guy. So, it's whatever you try out there, you got to consider it just, it's trial and error, and you'll figure out in, that measuring process what's going to work for you. But just don't give up the testing, because your marketplace is going to change. For all of you, in all of your businesses, in every single business, you either innovate or die. I mean, we're in a world that is changing in technology and in what our customers want and how we need to meet them, and we need to figure out and innovate how we're going to meet their needs. And then the second part is, it's not just innovation, it's communication and marketing. That's the second part. So it's innovation is half, communication and marketing, which is what communication is the second half. So it's going to continue to stay in flux. All right. Now, let's go. I want to give you everybody a little, so thank you for sharing, everybody, so far, at least the Stacy and the Terry. I don't know why you became these all of a sudden. Let me share with you real quickly about what today is about. And I really want to start off with the magic question of what's next for you. You can see that this is a pretty open sheet of paper. So I'd like to hear, this is a chance for everybody to kind of share a little bit. So I'd like to take turns, but also be concise about what it is that you've learned in the program, haven't been able to implement yet. What is kind of next for you, the next steps, and who would like to go first? Hi, Robin. Absolutely. And so can you give us an example? Yes. just you said that you're trying to get people to work with you for a longer period of time, and you're saying that you've focused a lot on your packages to try to do that. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think so. What if I hear you correctly? So let's just go ahead and I want to reframe this so that everybody can benefit. And again, one of the cool things about doing these calls in a group setting is that this is something that I get to hear every single day of my life, where you just decided how you're going to change your packages. So to me, it like lands so easily that like, and it just makes so much sense. I see it every day. But I want to just also, I'm having a hard time just getting the screen to do what I want it to. I want to frame this for everyone. Here's what I heard Robin just say, is that in the past she's done one and done. Meaning, like if I was to go to McDonald's, I would buy French fries, and I would say, hey, I want French fries, and she'd sell me French fries, and I'd leave, and she wouldn't sell me she wasn't planning to sell me the Big Mac and the Coke and everything else, as far as a poor example maybe. But she said, I decided I want to serve my customers at a higher level. They don't just need this hodgepodge. She's trying to find out how she can add more value, and not just once, but over time. So she's wanting to package like a bigger package. Like, it's great if they come in for a business card or a logo, but she's going to then recommend her package and try to upsell them, and could we interest you in me? Whatever, these packages. That's what I'm hearing she did, which is great for everybody. And she's now not just considering how to increase the per transaction rate. So I might be wrong, Robin. Let me just finish this last point. Go ahead. Yes, I'm completely hearing you, and I get it. I get it for you. The everybody out and listen to the distinction that she just made, and see. I look at Robin's learning and what she's doing differently than Robin does, and so does every person. Like you guys are going to go ahead and we see and find different things and different lessons in it, and so you're absolutely right. And what I just heard you say was the new intention and mindset around your ideal versus what you've been getting and attracting, and that's going to be your focus. Now, here's what I also heard, and I think everybody would agree. And would you also agree, Rob? Like you just said, people wanted the one and done, and that was not meeting their needs. So they got what they asked for, but not what they needed. So again, you're trying to meet their needs at a greater level, giving them more than they asked for. And it may go ahead, and you may lose other customers, it sounds like, and you've got to have the are you willing to do that, conversation with yourself? Are you willing to lose them? Or another way of looking at it is that when you repackage and reprice what you've got, you may be able to make it a better value. So even the people that came to you for that postcard or that brochure, and one of the things we're going to offer you is how you can improve your communication in the sale so that you can upsell them into one of your programs. Because you might want to keep offering the one and done things with the intention that it's a loss leader or you're willing to do it in this context, and you basically very rarely only do that, but you do make it available to them, but it's almost like you make it just unattractive. Like for those who want to just, I don't know if you ever, I shop at, when I'm on the road, I'll go to big Burger King versus McDonald's. And if I buy French fries, it's almost cost prohibitive to not buy a value meal. So I do it because if that's all I want, that's what I'll do. But for like $1 more, I get a Coke and a veggie burger is what I get. Like it's cost prohibitive to spend $3 on French fries and not spend $4 on the whole meal. I feel like I'm an idiot. And not exactly. Yeah. Well, and it's probably going to serve you tremendously well, because listen to what that does. As far as one of the things this program was designed to do was to help you differentiate yourself from everybody else, or at least where you want to be. Like whatever it is, whether or not you want to be the cheapest, the most expensive, middle of the road, the best, the worst, whatever your thing is, you want to differentiate yourself. And by saying, I will, I do branding now. I give you the whole package. I give you what you need, not necessarily the first thing you come to with what you want. And now that assuming that you master this sales conversation, like how do you effectively communicate that with someone, then you're saying, hey, I'm looking for A players, those that can appreciate my value right away. Though you don't say this necessarily, but this is what you're thinking in your unconscious mind of a AAA player is the one that appreciates your value, they can afford you, and they're willing to take action. Because maybes will suck the life out of you. For those of you who are not thinking you're phenomenal on sales, maybes will kill you. And, can we just start with the brochure? Yes, you can. You are one of my C customers. They just told you they're a C. That's totally cool. You have C clients, and you refer all your C clients to your C team. Like, no problem. I'll take these interns. I'll take these new college kids. I won't work on your stuff at that level, but Susie will do you a decent job. She'll give you what you asked for, not what you need, but what you asked for. No problem. I'm still your solution. Come to me when you want the result of overall branding, client attract, whatever your deal is. That's huge, and you'll probably make more sales just by having that mentality of like, oh, well, if you're not the right fit for me, I refer you to someone else. I don't do only that anymore. That's a huge, huge breakthrough. That makes me want you. As soon as you tell me that I can't have you if I'm too short-sighted, I'm like, but I want you. Well, so great shares, both of you, and I would completely agree. And I'm going to repeat what I said before. As soon as you draw your line in the sand and say, this is how I'm going to do it, you're probably going to upset somebody. I said it more, not politically correct, that you're going to piss somebody off, but it happens, and you're not going to make everybody happy. And no matter how hard you try, it just ain't going to happen. There's going to be somebody who says, boo, I don't like it. And you got to figure out what you're congruent with. Because if you're constantly running around trying to make everybody happy, it's not going to happen. And that's the rub. That's trying to figure out your niche. And here's how I see it. And again, a great share of not wanting to be that person that makes people feel uncomfortable or comes from an egotistical place or whatnot. But oftentimes the confident person, can sometimes be perceived as being egotistical because you know what you're looking for. You're like, it's sifting and sorting. If you've got a whole bunch of money, and let's say it's coins, like your kid has a piggy bank and you're going through the coins and it's time to put it in those, pennies go in the penny slot and quarters go in the quarter slot and dimes go in the dime slot. It just is what it is. If you try to force the quarter into the penny thing, it could work, but it's just not right. It's just not a good fit. So what I see it as sales, and this is what we're talking about here. This is the transition into sales. It's the communication that gives somebody permission to say yes. See, so far we've been talking about attraction. How do you get their attention and say, I want more? When it comes to closing the deal, then there is a structure and a formula. And I can't express to you how crazy it is to me that all of successful business that I have seen, in the last decade, I've seen a lot of different businesses in a lot of different industries, products, services, you name it. I've interacted with a ton of people, and it is a system. It is a system. It is a system. I mean, a successful business and successful teams and organizations and whatever it's a system. It's not done by mistake. There are rare occasions where someone's talented and they just get lucky. But success comes from a system. And there's a system with your marketing and attraction and the branding, like you're saying, Robin. I mean, I bet every one of us could use more of that, an improvement in our branding and a greater target in our ideal client. And that's why our business is constantly being changed. And we're constantly innovating if we're healthy. because we're growing. There's the phrase of you're either growing or dying. And I don't care what part of your business it is, if you're not innovating, if you're not figuring out how to communicate even better what you've got to people, then, if you're not growing, you're dying. And the sale is also just, I can't describe to you the power of the system. The system in the sale is just huge. And by the way, your system's not designed to be perfect, and it's not designed to be, we want it to be perfect, but it'll never be. And I don't care what your system is, it's not going to attract everybody every time. It's not going to close everybody every time. And eventually, if you draw your line in the sand, you're going to make somebody upset. They're going to say, this stinks, and you stink too, by the way. Or something like that. So, congratulations, though. That is a huge distinction, and I'm very grateful that you spent your time on it, because here's maybe the misconception of somebody that, of us, to look at you, Robin, is I would think that you already had that figured out. Just to let you know, from the outside looking in, we don't know. I'm going to trust the fashion doctor. No, I'm going to trust that you know exactly. I can't see from the inside, from your perspective until you just authentically shared. I would just assume you've got that dialed in, but that's not the case. I don't know of any business anywhere who everything is running perfectly, and they don't need the improvements constantly to try to figure out how to innovate and communicate. So, anything else, Robin, to share? Because that was huge. Okay. The second part of what she shared with everybody was, not only is she interested in not doing the one and done, which means her initial people, most of them, she's not losing. Check this out. This is so cool, Robin. You leverage them, your C players, your C clients, to other people, where you hopefully will monetize that. So you still get paid something if you do this ideally. Everybody wins. Your client, your college kid that's going to go ahead and be happy to have the work, and you win financially. You look like a bigger, better solution to someone because you are now a bigger we. They're like, holy cow, she sent me to her people. Then you make more per transaction. Like you said, it's a dollars and cents thing because you're only dealing with high end. I mean, Donald Trump could sell mobile homes, but instead he sells on Park Place. He decided he's going to go ahead and pick his clientele. So he doesn't sell mobile homes. Then the third thing that you did, which is huge, is did you hear that she wants to have an ongoing revenue stream? So rather than this just being once, she's trying to, and I don't know exactly what you've got here, but you're trying to blend into this, hey, I need to work with you consistently. 2, 3, 4 times a year is my package because I want to help you improve this over time. Did I get that right as well? Got it. So here's my warning to everyone. This sounds really great because it sounds like a really well thought out plan. But really well thought out plans rarely work the way that you want them to in the marketplace. I mean, sometimes it'll work perfectly and you'll just love it. But oftentimes they're going to need to be tweaked and changed, like I just said. So, and people are freaky deaky about money is one of the things we say all the time. So it's us as well, like we are. So Robin, when you pick your new pricing and packages on however it is, my only share with you, and this is the warning to everybody, is don't get too locked into your package and don't get too locked into your price. Stay observant and be aware of what's working and what's not and what you can do to improve and shift your package and your price. And it may be adding stuff and it may be taking stuff away. It may be a higher price or a lower price. But just don't fall too in love with it, because too often do I meet with business owners and I have clients that say, oh, I've already repriced. I just did it last month. I can't reprice again. And I'm thinking, really? Why wouldn't you at least be open to it? They're like, because I have a new package and a new price. And I get it, you can't change every day. But if you fall in love with this stuff, you're not on your toes, you're not flexible, you're not paying attention. You're too in love with your own awesome idea, plan, package, price. Does that make sense? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the truth is IBM, if you tried to sell them something for $200, would like shoo you away, or $2,000, they shoo you away. 20 grand, 20 grand to them is like 20 cents. So when you're at like somewhere between $50 and $150,000 for your basic little package, they might start to pay attention to you. So it's just appropriate to do that. Well, and here's the thing. Remember that price has a lot to do with perceived value. So this is for everybody. Because there were people on today's call that have priced yourself, and I've heard almost everybody's prices at least at some point. And I've heard some of your pricing, and I'll tell you, when I hear pricing that is too low for my standards, I automatically associate low quality to that product or service. So you've got to be very conscious, of being clear in your communication of who you're talking to, which is a great suggestion, Robin, to not necessarily post your prices to everyone and have a standard price to everyone, because you need to be cognizant of the perception of your client, of who you're talking to. So it's great to ask questions before you start to vomit on people about price and yada, 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 to understand what they want and to talk about your customized packages. And yes, in your mind, you already have a range and you already have an understanding of what you're going to offer. If you don't, you're going to be totally confused. But this is more of what we'll talk about for those of you who choose to move forward with us with Sales Mastery, and the rest of what Robin and I are going to help you with. Robin is in my Robin. By the way, Robin, I want to thank you because I don't think were you on the call live last week, or did you listen to the replay and then you posted on Facebook? Right. So I thought that because I remember, so Robin posted that if anybody wants help with the design of that U in the box, or however else you want to use the recordings that you're doing or anything, then she volunteered to give everybody a great rate and help you with that design. So I think that's fabulous to have somebody that you can trust to go ahead and create something. And the fact that she's been part of this training means she's not going to try to tweak it too much out of like what she feels is appropriate. But honestly, guys, anything that we share with you, we want you to use your own best judgment. We're not going to tell you what to do. This information's in front of you. You get to take action on the stuff you want to use and not on the rest. But I think that's a huge offer, so thank you, Robin. Let me go ahead and I want to point something out real quickly. Briefly as a recap, this is what we have done. If you look at handout module 6, this is, you guys all are familiar with this, page 3, where we had the iCAP system, which is Go IPO. And just as a quick recap, we started off in this program, module 1, helping you get clear about your goals. Number 1, get clear about what you want. And when it comes to your goals, it's like, how much money do you want to make? How much time do you want to spend doing it? What do you want to spend your time doing? Ideally. We got into your offer and the massive transformational value to start communicating in results to your clients, and to try to find out, like Robin was just discussing, is she's trying to get her head around, how can I add more value in such a way that's going to be advantageous financially, like who you really want to be targeting, which is moving into ideal client. We talked about positioning yourself as an expert, which has everything to do with crafting your message, and that's this interview process where you can also use the power of testimonials. I think we covered on module 3 or 4, and there's some instructions about how you can get those testimonials. And remember too that I posted an audio training where I went with Wild Wendy and we went back and forth. This is in your bonus content on iCAP. If you go into your online, on the online membership site, you're going to be able to get that. If you haven't listened to that yet, it's a pretty dang good example of how you can elicit a powerful testimonial from someone. And so that's all there. I don't want to repeat it because it was like 30 or 45 minutes worth of us talking back and forth, but we got a real powerful testimonial out of it. But it's one of the tools you can use all over the place, on your business cards, on your websites, on this You in the Box. You can use it as an audio file, a ton of things that it can be used for. It can be on videos, all kinds of stuff. And then step 5 in the Go IPO system, and like you heard from Robin last week, she made up that name, like if you coin your system and name your system, it's like naming your own holiday. You differentiate yourself in your process. Almost everything we do has a name, has some kind of name to it. Like it's not, like what do we call it? The AAA player, so that it can bring it up, make it easy for us to understand. And then we just call them a C player, like a C client. No problem with the C client. You're just going to refer them to your C team. They don't need to know that that's good, bad, or indifferent, and you certainly don't need to tell them that they're a C player. But this is one visual of what we've done this whole time. Now, let me ask a question before we move on. Who would like to share on the concept of what's next of these components? Who's got something burning that they're like, you know what, I need to make sure I improve this part of the iCAP program. Like I'm not done with that one yet. I still need to improve it. Who would like to share? Something that can go on your to-do list of what's next for you. I'll go ahead and volunteer that I was gonna say the first one who speaks loses. I'll lose here and give someone a chance to speak. Okay, so I'm sorry. I just spoke over you. Go ahead. Terry, that is so awesome. Do you guys all hear that? Like how she's named each of the things? Like she has a little breakdown for it, and what I hear is you talking about how you can serve greater at a better level, whether they're bonuses that you throw in. And I hear you, hopefully when you communicate this, if we get a chance to work with you more, I want to help you with your communication of it so that you establish huge, quantifiable, monetary value, regardless of whether or not you ever make a penny on any of the stuff that you just mentioned. It's this stuff that will, if you communicate it right, it's called pre-framing. You know, you may have heard of reframing. It's like it's seeing something from a different perspective. That's like when you're in the middle of it. Like when, you try to see every cloud has a silver lining. That's the reframe. The pre-frame is telling people what they're going to experience before they experience it, before there's even a cloud. You tell them what to look forward to. And if you communicate all this stuff that you're talking about right now, Terry, elegantly, and I'm sure you're going to figure out how, but I hope we get a chance to work with you on this because this is huge. This can, yes, be some lower price options for some of your people, which is totally cool, not necessarily your ideal clients, but another way to serve and how you can add massive value to your ideal clients. So great. I'm so proud of you. I love reading all your stuff. Well, let me share with everybody. So, Terry, that's huge. That's awesome. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share something that is, I'm not going to detail until Robin or I talk with you one-on-one off the call. But, Robin, you're talking about, I'm sorry? Oh, did you? Can you guys not see the screen anymore? It may have been your screensaver. So, when Robin and I looked at this program, we knew that this call was wrapping up. We decided we needed a new package or offer to try to go ahead and help you with what was next. And so we had never done it before, and we wanted to do something that was appropriate. But I'm just talking. I want to share with you that what I hear you coming from, Terry, is how you're trying to meet your client where they're at. And I don't know if this is exactly accurate, but this is what I'm hearing. And that's the same thing I just want to share with everybody very transparently, like this, bring you behind the curtain and share with you what, like the Wizard of Oz, there are no curtains here. I want to just share with you what's going on. When Robin and I looked at what's next for you, tonight's our last call. We're like, hold on, that's not it. We want to keep helping. So what can we give you? What can we package? What can we customize that will be awesome for you? And we tried to do that. And we'll tell you more about what that is. It's called mentoring, and we'll talk to you about what that. There's a couple things that are options for you moving forward. But I'm excited, Terry, because I think that it's going to be huge for you, and we're going to help you with your repackaging and repricing and the sales. But it's more than that, and it's to help you really figure out a magic number. Because this business is just a numbers game. You want to figure out a simple business solution. And so oftentimes now I'm getting down to just simplicity in business is the magic. Simplicity is genius. And I hope that we're going to get a chance to work with at least some of you in that capacity moving forward, because it's going to be huge, 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 huge. And you've got you're thinking right now, both Robin and Terry, I want to just acknowledge you guys. It just sounds like you're on the money as far as figuring out, because you're embracing the repackaging and the repricing of your stuff. And Terry, I'm really hoping I can help you with the pricing part of this moving forward. So even if our last call, like if you and I, Terry, are communicating, I don't know if you'll talk to me or Robin, but I think we totally got, even if last call is our next call with you, our next call is our last call, let's make sure we discuss pricing, because I want to make sure that you're, at least at this stage, maximizing that, because it sounds like you're going to be bringing a lot more value. Does that sound cool? Okay, thank you. All right, so here we go. This is another piece of recap. If you're looking, I think we're on page 4 of module 6. This is something else we used. We talked about goals, offer, ideal client. Goals, offer, ideal client. That's all above the blue line. That's where you're getting ready. Leads, sales, and fulfillment are another way of we chunk your business. Leads being marketing, that's ideal client attraction program. Sales is the conversion part that we want to give you. That's also part of what hopefully is next for everyone. And fulfillment, you guys are hopefully already great at. Robin gave us a great example of how she's going to fulfill some of her clients' needs by using college kids. Which, by the way, I have a new intern that's going to be working for me, and I'm actually going to send something out soon. She's got a new program where business owners can bring on. She started this. My intern is going to start a business where she's going to align. She goes to school at Drexel University, and she is going to go ahead and help business owners sign up with the Drexel University intern program, where they can attract both paid and unpaid interns that work 20 to 40 hours a week for your company. She's going to do this matchmaker service. Totally, totally awesome to get some cool help in your business. We spent the last couple of modules talking a little bit about the you in the box, that if people really knew about who you were, that they'd be much more likely to buy from you. So we're trying to figure out how to do that quickly, succinctly, and we've used the phrase call to action, like CTA. What is your clear, concise, compelling call to action? We called it, I think, a hurricane of new clients. If you're clear, concise, and compelling in your call to action. And by the way, we have a client of ours in our Sales Mastery program right now who is going to be starting the iCAP program next week. And this has been her challenge. She's a well-known, people will say, hey, when I think of your industry, I think of you. And you're everywhere. And so they think she's fabulous at marketing. And she's gotten her name out there, and she's in magazines, and she's got all kind of publicity that has been really awesome, and she's well published and all this stuff, but she's not making any money. That's not exactly accurate. She's making some money, but she's not making nearly what she needs to earn. So perceptually, and it was funny, we were talking today on the phone, and she was actually kind of upset. She was like, it's not a popularity contest. You know, in the context that she has social media people that have liked her page and all this jazz, and they're like, wow, you're so amazing, we love your stuff. And she's like, okay, why aren't you buying? And part of the challenge in this, I'm paused here on the you in the box, and also to align with Robin in this case on her concept of branding somebody and giving them what they need versus what they think they want, is that her messaging, while it's getting out there, is not closing clients. So it's great that she's winning the popularity contest. Not so awesome that she doesn't have a clear, concise, and compelling call to action, which is, this is the stage of the sale. It's great that somebody sees her thing, her Facebook, your card, they like your doctor's jacket, whatever it is. If that is the stage of your sale, then you have to figure out how to move them to the next stage. And it's that simple. It's just, if all you got to do is they come to your website. Is your website built to capture their information? Because that's what it should be built for. One thing and one thing only. Give them enough information so that they want more. They give you their contact information. It's capture, communicate, close when it comes to your website. That's the formula. You want to make sure you give them enough information that they want to give you their contact information. So that you've got their name, email, phone number, ideally would be great. Name and email is better than nothing. That's probably the first step. And that they want you to communicate to them via any of the forms that you're going to communicate. And that you really want to have a clear understanding of what your sales stages of your sale are. In this case with the You in the Box and these interviews, remember we're wanting to make sure at the end of this interview there is a call to action, which hopefully in this case Athena asked the right question to say, hey, Stacy, is there anything you've got that you're offering for sale? And she's like, yes, or that you give away for free, yes, because then you didn't vomit on them that it was elicited from you. By the way, did that happen between you guys? Okay, so the answer is yes or no. Did she ask you, are you giving away anything for free or no? Totally up to you guys. I mean, you're going to look at this and say, oh, I don't want to do that or I do want to do that. But here's the thing. My You in the Box, remember the designs that I gave you guys, it is very clear. It's written on the thing. There's something the purpose of me giving that to someone is to schedule a strategy session. That's the stage of the sale. That's it, baby. I want them to schedule a strategy session with me. If they won't do that, that's fine. That's not my ideal client then. That's totally cool, in fact. Who do you know you can give this to? That is the purpose for this communication. That's it. And you don't want to give a strategy session to someone who doesn't want it. So you're not, again, it's not designed to give you a yes from everybody. It's designed to give you a yes from the people you want to give you a yes. Versus, if you give out this great interview, Stacy, Stacy, and it's this great interview, and there's nothing that's a clear, concise, clear, meaning they understand exactly what it is. They know what to do. It's concise. It didn't take them a long time. We've been talking on the phone now for an hour, almost. So I don't know that this is the definition of concise when it's been an hour so far, right? Concise. It does not take long to say it. You can communicate it to a 5-year-old. And then compelling. They feel compelled. They want to do it. A good trailer to a movie, you watch it, and if you're into chick flicks and you see a good chick flick trailer, you want to see the next chick flick. Like Robin can't keep me away from, or I can't keep Robin away from chick flick. She sees a chick flick trailer, she's all over it. If I see something blowing up and space aliens and cowboys or something, sci-fi, I'm all over it. I just can't wait to see it. She's not attracted to that kind of stuff. She'll sometimes humor me and watch it, and I'll usually get teary-eyed more than she does during the chick flicks. I kind of pretend I'm not into them. But it's designed to be compelling. So Terry, you're excuse me, I keep saying Terry. Sandy, excuse me, not Sandy. Stacy, potentially your You in the Box or this interview, however you choose to use it, will give you the result that you want, and you don't need to change it. But that's why you want to measure how it goes. And Athena, you nailed it. Maybe you guys want to redo it. Or you could just redo that part. Totally up to you. Okay. Any other questions or any other comments about anything that they haven't gotten to yet? Mm-hmm. I do. Mm-hmm. Well, I've got body language up right now, so what we did with this, it's so awesome that you actually review, excuse me? I did actually catch that. Thank you, though, because I think I made like 10 mistakes on names so far. So, you know, there's a diagram that I think is the most powerful part of body language. You know, when we taught the ultimate sales formula. We gave everybody the gist of that, right? High, why, try, buy, guaranteed bonuses. You guys got the gist of that in this program? Or no? No, maybe we only cover that in Sales Mastery. I'm sorry, we're teaching them back to back. So, the first part of sales, our ultimate sales formula, is the word high. And it sounds good. Our ultimate sales formula are the first 4 words, and the first 4 chunks are high, why, try, and buy. Okay? The first one is high. High is all about building rapport. And this has everything to do with body language. But it's also about how you use your voice. And in this case, this is some stuff from a lot of NLP that talks about space, weight, time, and flow. And quite frankly, it does confuse me a little bit too. But here's the thing. When it comes to influence, because, we have added this because it's a powerful part of, of influence, is figuring out how you can be dynamic in your expression. And so Terry's example of all of her fashion language, for example, to me is very powerful because it's dynamic and it has energy in and around it. When it comes to building rapport with someone, and that's in high in the Ultimate Sales Formula, you want to model the language somebody uses. That's the exact words. You want to model their body language, the way they move, the way they breathe, the way their gestures. If I actually get an email from somebody and they say, "Dear Trevor," I'll say, "Dear Amy," because I want to respond in a similar fashion of communication as theirs. That's the most important thing to me when it comes to how you intentionally move your body when it comes to your communication with people. And in the context here of space, weight, time, and flow, it's just trying to give you a different perspective and a language around it. That's not a very specific answer, Amy, but I think it's what's important about this page to me. Yes, like the language here, like if you look at the bottom, it says advocating efforts is asserting leadership. Inquiring efforts are listening and exploring around. This is a lot of big words. I don't like a lot of big words because I like to use simple communication. Advocating efforts is asserting leadership. We can talk about that. That's me bossing you around. I am asserting leadership on another person. The inquiring efforts is listening and exploring around. I'm pretty good at both. I lead with one or the other. Which one do you think is the best to lead with? Advocating efforts, asserting your leadership, or inquiring efforts, listening and exploring around? If you were trying to influence other people, Amy, which do you think? 99 times out of 100, I would agree with you. There's probably always going to be that case. Like if there's a fire, you say, "Hey guys, we're going this way." That's the, asserting leadership time. When you have to discipline your son or daughter, or your husband, or whatever, then absolutely. Now here's the cool thing, ladies. This is really key. This is probably a better piece to be communicated in Sales Mastery when it comes to of body language and influence and things, but it's kind of a lead into that, which is why we don't get into it in a lot of detail here. But when it comes to, like, go ahead, Amy, go ahead, ask your question. Well, thank you for that. And many things that there is a blurred line. You know, all the stuff that we're sharing with you, it does have overlap because influence is more than one thing. Persuasion is more than one thing. It's a whole combination of stuff. And there have been times that all of us were probably prepared to move forward with a personal relationship, an intimate relationship, a buying decision of some sort, even if it cost us financial dollars, and at some point somebody did, said, moved, raised an eyebrow, something, and you got a gut check that said, hold on, I just don't trust it. I don't know what it is, but I'm not going to get into that car. I'm not going to give him my phone number. I'm not going to move forward. You know, I was going to buy right up until something happened. I don't even know what it was, but I'm not going to move forward now. Would you agree with that, Amy? Yeah, totally that instinctual thing. I'll give one little example of this and we'll move on. When it comes to space, okay, so how this is experienced by others. This is also about, so looking at this, space and attention, weight and intention, time and commitment, flow and precision. Okay, so space and weight. One of my friends went in and made a company. He's a business consultant, and he made a company like $14 million 1 year. And he did one thing. Let me check this call, see if maybe somebody got bumped. Hold on 1 second, ladies. This is Robin trying to call in, so she can't get on the conference call line. Hold on. Hi, honey. Hi, honey. Yeah, just stay on mute to start off because you got a little bit of car noise and I'm right in the middle of the story, but I'll merge you. Okay, everybody, I asked Robin she is on the line on mute. She's got a little bit of background noise and said she wanted to make sure she was present for the end of the call. So I asked if she'd stay silent. So no girly highs right now. I want to finish my story. Robin, I was just sharing with them how our friend Carl helped a company make like $14 million. And he did one thing, and it was about body language. The people would give a presentation, and they would stand up in front of a room, and they'd give the presentation. They had a certain closing ratio. Let's say 1 out of 12 people in a room would buy. Small rooms, they would give this presentation, and people would, about 1 out of 12 would buy at the end of the presentation. What my friend Carl did is he changed one thing, and it was the body language of the presenter at one point in the presentation, and all he had them do was stand still. Because typically when somebody starts talking about price, what they'll end up doing unconsciously with their body is they will move backwards. They'll take a step backwards, or their shoulder or arm or something will move backwards. It's because people are freaky deaky about money. So when it came to money and they made the offer, all Carl had them do was put their feet flat on the floor and not move and talk about the offer. They didn't change one word. All they did was stand still, complete open body posture when they talked about the offer, just not wiggle around, not weight on the right foot, not weight on the left foot. They stood totally stationary, made the same offer, and they like quadrupled their sales. Quadrupled sales from one body posture, body language piece. It was huge. Huge. So, Amy, I went in there to this one a little bit longer than I thought. What was your other question briefly that you asked on Facebook? Because I want to address that quickly. Great question. So I'm not going to answer that exactly, but I'll give you a good answer. I just went through a PR training course recently, and the woman named Jill Lublin was talking about how you can get more publicity and PR, and we were talking about our bios. And she gave us 3 samples of a bio: a 1-line, a 4-line, and a 1-page. And she said you need all 3, and they're all appropriate in different situations. And she's like, you need to use whichever one is appropriate in each of these situations. She gave a few examples, but you need all of them. So like when it comes to you meeting somebody, how much of this elevator pitch are you going to get? You just want to have your 1-liner, you want to have your 2-liner, 3-liner, you want to have a couple of different options. One of my favorites is when somebody will ask me a question about, hey Trevor, what do you do? Is I'll answer briefly, but then I basically return that question immediately. And like one of my friends taught me this. He said, someone would say, hey Doug, what do you do? And Doug, this is, they'd say, hey, nice to meet you, Doug, what do you do? And that, in a networking situation. And what Doug would say is, well, enough about me, tell me about you, tell me more about you. And it was kind of a joke. He answered nothing. He just repeated the question back to the person. But then he got them talking about what they wanted to talk about anyway, which was themselves. And Doug made over 200 sales in like a small 3 to 4 month period. And he would go into brand new territories. He worked for Tony Robbins. He'd go into brand new territories that he'd never been in a town before. And inside of 3 months, he'd make over 200 sales. 250 sales, I think, was his average. And he just did it by mostly asking questions and aligning with people. It had very little to do with what he said. Now, when it came his turn to share, he knew precisely his elevator pitch of what to say. And I'm confident, I don't know this exactly, but I'm confident he had his short, medium, and long pitch that he could go ahead and use to create curiosity. And he had absolute clarity about what stage of the sale he was in. He was not there to get a client. He never, in fact, I interviewed him for 2.5 hours one time that I recorded in this networking mastery program, we called it. And I kept trying to trip him up and say, well, how he was selling. And he said, dude, you got to stop asking me that. I was just there to help people. I was just there to serve. I think I made that many sales, if you want to call it that, because I cared more than anybody else. I was like, wow. I mean, he just kept coming back to it. So it's very little to do with what you say, although when Terry the fashion doctor opens her mouth right now, it like totally is attractive to me because she's saying something unique and original and creates curiosity. Does that answer your question, Amy? At least a little bit? So I want to go ahead and invite my wifey Pooh to come on. I don't know. I've never called her that, so that didn't sound right to me at all. I'm going to turn this over to Robin for a few minutes to communicate before we... Yeah. Over to you, hon. And Robs, if you would, just as we're wrapping up, I want to make sure before we get into those questions that I'm sure there are some, I want to make sure I at least cover the rest of the module because I haven't gone through all the slides yet. So let me just get... I was just going to ask. Okay, no problem. Then Stacy and anybody else that needs to drop off, all I'm going to cover right now is just the last few slides of the handout number 6. And so it's not like you don't have that. I was just going to give a quick pre-frame to it so that you have it available. And my homework to everybody, by the way, stay in touch with your email so that we're going to set an appointment to do one-on-ones with you like Robin just reiterated. And your homework is to finish this interview process if you haven't done that, and to also do the visual imagery. Like the couple of slides that are coming up are some examples of how you can brand yourself, and some photos that we actually took at our actual 3-day program with some of the people that we had show up, and how you can actually do some cool graphics as well. So that's in there, I think, on page 6 of your handout. So make sure you guys finish that program, and then on the what's next part for your homework, make sure there's a calendar. And we're going to do this kind of on the next call, so it's okay. On the one-on-one, we want you guys to commit to some actions of whatever it is that's next for you, so you can schedule some targets or some tasks. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and, Stacy, if you need to jam, that's cool. Anybody else that needs to pop, that's great. But I'll keep going for the next 5-10 minutes to just cover this stuff. That's okay. Okay. Bye, Stace. Are we going to lose anybody else right now? Okay, great. Well, then we'll keep going. As you know, you can see these are just some examples of how you can use these images, and I want to show you, like, I'm not the best techie person when it comes to, what was I going to open up? When it comes to using some of this stuff. Hold on. I got all messed up. If you're looking at the screen right now, I got messed up because I wasn't able to here we go. When you cut these images, like if you go ahead and these photos were taken, I think these are photos that we took with a professional camera, but you literally can take these with your iPhone or whatever device, and you know, professional photographers are going to kill me for saying that, but it doesn't really matter because you can see how small they are. And as we have these images, come on, computer, you're going so slow, you can go ahead and your graphics person, whoever you use, can totally play around with these images. And you can see kind of some of the examples of how they're used on your CD or book or on your website. And it's so cool to have them so that they're this easy to go ahead and manipulate. I did this in 5-10 minutes today. I just opened up my thing and I moved all these images around, and it's huge. It's huge. It's huge. So with that, you got it as an example. And then here's a really good question on page 7. I'm going to go back to the Adobe Reader version. On page 7, at the top it says, what needs to happen? This is one of the best questions that I think you can ask in your business. As an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you know, oftentimes when this question came up, or an opposing question came up just recently, I mentioned to everyone I have a new intern, and she's fabulous, and she was, what did my screen just do? Excuse me, ladies. I think the fact that I have a, this is a 31 gig screen recording right now. It's just that my screen's moving very slowly with all this stuff open. Apologize. What needs to happen in order to blank? That's what this question is. As an entrepreneur, I think it's just that you fill in the blank. What needs to happen in order for you to get those photos done? And then you basically create a list. What needs to happen in order for you to fill in the blank? Make 10 grand next month. What needs to happen in order for you to do whatever? It's presupposing that there's a list of things you've got to get done versus calling up the college and saying, how can I get this done? What needs to happen in order for me to get what I want? When I went to college, my parents didn't make a lot of money, and I wanted to go to college, and I had an academic scholarship, but it only paid for like tuition. I went to an in-state university at Arizona State, and I had lived in the state, so I didn't have to pay much. But I didn't get a lot of financial aid. And when I went to the financial aid office, I basically said, can I get some financial aid? And they said no. They said, let me see your paperwork. And they said no. And I said, well, this is confusing. My parents are broke. I don't have any money. I'm a full-time student. I'm on scholarship here. I'm confused. A lot of other kids are walking out of here with some financial aid. How's that happening? And basically, I started asking this question, what needs to happen in order to get all that financial aid? And I kept asking that question, and over the next 6 months, I ended up qualifying for all the financial aid they had. And I remember I'd go up to somebody, and they'd say, no, you can't qualify for any more. And I'd say, well, what needs to happen in order for me to? They're like, well, you would have to have a problem with your car. If you have a car that has some challenge, that is a mechanical problem, then you could qualify for an extra $2,000 a year or a semester or something like that. And I was like, well, it just so happens I have a car that's broken down. This is perfect. But they didn't tell me that when I went in and asked the question, can I have some more? They said no. So I highly recommend as business professionals that this is the new pattern of your communication, is asking yourself this question, especially when you're coming up with your list of what you need to do, like what's next, what needs to happen in order to get blank. And then the last couple of pages here are a place for you to just capture that, like what needs to happen, and then your targets of what you're trying to accomplish in each month moving forward over the next year. So let me just go ahead and see if there's any other questions of anything that needs clarity tonight before we're wrapping things up. I'm not hearing anything. Anybody else have anything else to say? Okay. Yes? Robin has, I believe, 2 of our 3 recordings that we promised from our multimillionaire trainer mentors. And one is to talk about rockstar branding, another one about relationship marketing, and then I don't remember the third off the top of my head. But what Robin's going to do is she's got a couple of those recordings she has to give to me, and one more she needs to capture. And we're going to post that up, and I'll send you an email that they're available for you, because that's some of the training we promise you get from some cool people we work with. Thank you for asking. I don't know precisely, but how does haven't decided, I guess. But how about a month or 2? Is that good for you? Good night, everybody.